How to multiply monomials to polynomials. Okay. Alright. What? Oh my god.
What's going on, students? Today you're going to learn how to multiply a monomial into a polynomial. There are a lot of methods to do this, and I'm going to show you the fastest way in order to solve these kind of problems. So let's check out my video, and if it doesn't make sense, well, I guess you can always check out that Google link that I searched. Let's go! I'm going to show you how to do this in two ways. One is the old way. The old way is how I learned it back in high school years ago. Let me take that back. Decades ago. So when you're multiplying a monomial, a single term, into a binomial, two terms, it's just the distributive property. You're taking the term on the outside and multiplying it to the terms inside. So there's two sets of multiplication going on. This one right here is why I wrote this, 2x times 3x. And the other one is 2x times negative 4, which is this part of the work right here. Once you get to this line, all you have to do is simplify by multiplying. 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. And then do the other one. 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. These two, remember that you cannot combine like terms because their variables have different exponents. So leave it alone. That is the simplified version. Let's look at a more complicated one. I'm multiplying negative 3xy to this binomial right here. So I'm going to take negative 3xy times 2x, which is that, and writing it again to show your work, negative 3xy times the second term in that binomial right here. Once you got that, simplify by using your exponent and power rules. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. X times x, add the exponents, x squared. And if it doesn't have a y right here and this one has it, all you got to do is slide it down like that. Doing the other one, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. x1 and x squared gets you x to the third. Y times y is y squared. The old school way, I like it because you can visually see and understand what's going on. But I'm all about the new method, faster way, less writing. This is the Method Man shortcut that I'm going to show you guys. As long as you understand the problems on the left, we're going to repeat the same problems on this side, except in a much faster and less writing way. So when you start a problem, you want to make sure that everything has a coefficient, which it does. It's got coefficients. And everything with a variable, just put an exponent on it. And it's going to make it easier. Like this x really has a 1. That 2 in the outside, we're going to end up multiplying it out to each one of those terms in the inside. So we're going to dish it out right away to those two terms and multiply it. I'm going to multiply 2 to 3 and negative 4, which that will turn into 6. And negative 4 will turn into negative 8. Once you dealt with that multiplication, cross it off so you don't have to worry about it. It's in the past. We dealt with it. It's gone. Now we got to worry about this x1 that we got to multiply to both of these terms. The rule with multiplying exponents with the same base, or variables with the same base, you got to add the exponents. The reason why I wrote a 1 out here is because all that's going to do is that any term inside with an x, the exponent is going to increase by 1 because you're adding the exponents. And if it doesn't have an x, then just slide an x right next to it because this has x to the first power. So then what that's going to do is turn this x squared into x to the third, because if I multiply x times x squared, it's x to the third. Hopefully that's making sense. I mean, we're going to practice this more and more so you get used to it. And if it doesn't have an x term, like this didn't have an x term, all you got to do is slide whatever this is right next to this x. You can put x1 if you want. They mean the same thing. And then cross this off. So there's my answer right there in red. I'm going to rewrite it at the bottom. You don't have to put that first power. You could just leave it like that, which is the same answer that we got from the old school way. So let's practice the new school method. Less work, shorter, faster. That's what I'm all about. And this is really going to help you. The variables, if they don't have exponents, just put a 1 on all of them. It's going to help you visually see what's going on better. So let's start with the coefficients, -3. That means I'm going to have to dish it out to these two by multiplying it. Let's multiply that out first and write the results on the top. -3 times 2, that's going to turn into -6. -3 times -3, that's going to get you +9. 1 down, 2 more things that I got to worry about. That x to the first power. Anything in the inside parentheses, if it's got an x variable, it's going to increase by how many this is. It's going to increase by 1. Both of those are going to increase by 1 because you're multiplying it out by x. So that x1 is going to now turn into x2. x2 will turn into x3. So same thing with the y. It's a 1, right? Anything without a y, you just write an extra term. Whatever this is, you're going to write it next to it. So y to the first, you don't have to put that first power. But this one does have one. It has a y to the first power. That's going to change into y squared. So that's my answer, right in the red. -6x squared y plus 9x to the third y squared. We're going to take a monomial, multiply it to 3 terms, a trinomial. Start with a coefficient on the outside at 2. Everything in the inside, this, and this, you're multiplying by 2. So that's going to turn into 4. This is going to turn into -4. And that is going to turn into a +10. Hope I'm not losing you. Stay with me here. Stay with me. This y squared, anything that has a y in the inside, the exponent is going to increase by 2 this time because it says squared. All those exponents are just going to increase by this number right here, by 2. So y3 is going to turn into y to the 5th power. Y squared is y to the 4th. And y1 is going to turn into y3. And that is it. That is it. You're done. You're done. Easy, easy. Let's do it again. First thing, I want to make sure that my problem is set up. And this is what I'm talking about right here. If that doesn't have a coefficient, let's just put 1, -1 in the front. That way I don't mess anything up. This C has an exponent of a 1. That B has an exponent of a 1. And I'm set from here. Start with the coefficients and the outside, dishing it out to the ones in the inside. All of these are going to be multiplied by 3. So let's do that. 3 times -1 is -3. Done. 3 times 2, 6. And 3 times -6 is -18. I am done with the coefficients. Let's go letter by letter. Anything in the inside, if it's got an a, the exponent is going to increase by 2. If it doesn't have an a, you just sneak in whatever this term is. Like this term right here does not have an a variable. So we're just going to write a squared, whatever this is in the outside, you're just gonna sneak it in like that. I mean, this one has a squared, that's gonna increase by 2. That turns into a to the 4th. Done. A to the 4th will now become a 6. Done. Now let's move on to C. Everything in the inside with a C will increase by 1. If it doesn't have a C, just write it right next to it. So looking at that first one, don't worry about that B. We're going to sneak that in later. C3 is going to turn into C4. because it's increasing by 1. C2 will become C3. This does not have a C, so we just put in whatever this is right next to it. So that's done. The only thing left that I have is this B1. So people are going to ask, what do I do with it? What do I do with it? We're just going to include that, and that's why I made a little space right here. We're going to include that with that first term because it didn't go away. It's still there. If we didn't touch it, it's still there. So you just got to rewrite it like that. So just take the extra effort to rewrite it. Done. All right, we're going to multiply this monomial, a single term, to 4 terms, a polynomial. Pause the video, try this out, apply what you learned, and when you're done, unpause the video for the answer. Here is the answer. The final answer is this. And the first thing you want to do is start with that coefficients, multiply it to each coefficient in the inside, and then just go letter by letter. Anything in the inside with x, the exponent is going to increase by 2. If it doesn't have x, then you just got to sneak in that x squared, whatever this is, right next to it. So that's where I got that. This one didn't have it. Yeah, I snuck in x squared right next to it. And then you do the same thing for z. As far as the y, this doesn't have a y on it, right? Leave it alone where it was. So if it was in the first term inside this parentheses, just leave it alone. This y was here. Leave it in the second term. And if it doesn't have y's, you don't have to worry about it because you're not distributing a y. I hope that is making sense. If not, we might just have to go back to the old school way. But my efforts here is to save you some time and some writing. And if you're taking like an SAT or ACT, I want you guys to be able to do that faster. If my videos are helping, throw me a like. Subscribe, and I will give you guys some more help with math videos. But until then, I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace!